Yeah, well, I don't know why they do a repair like that, but they did. Yeah, gotta do better than that. Okay, when you put a pan on the back of the chimney to catch all the water, it's gonna flow out here. But what they did wrong is they cut that piece of metal right there. So they cut the piece of metal. Now I cut that little piece here to open it up, but they cut that metal and they folded it over like that. But see how they smashed that? So there's your hole right there. And the only thing keeping the water out of that hole was caulking. So that is not the proper way to do it. So there should be a piece of metal in there. And you should never cut the back of the pan. That should stick out past here. That way all the water drains here instead of directly in the house. So that roofing installer is the one that caused the leak here, because he didn't know how to make a back pan for the chimney. So when that piece of metal gets shoved up in there, that's going to collect all the water that comes off that chimney and drains in that little crack right there. And it's going to drain here and drain off away from this hole here. You can see how it's kind of soft right there, so that means there's rotten wood there. And the customer's not ready to replace the roof yet, but this will hold that water out, keep that water out until they're ready to replace the roof. So here was the same thing. And that piece of metal here, as that water fills up on that chimney and lays on this metal, it'll drain out here away from the chimney flashing. Okay, again, somebody had this back pan sticking out far enough, but they cut it right here. And when they cut it, that's where your hole is, right there. And what are they using to keep the water out? Just a little bit of caulking. So that could have been prevented. There's a better way to do it. And we'll just fix this as a temporary fix until we come back and do the roof at a later time. Okay, we can see here where they took the step flashing and cut it and folded the back of it over. Then they took the back pan, folded it over. So that would look something like this inside of here. Okay, there's your step flashing right there. And then here's your counter flashing, your back pan on the back of it. And they just lay it right over top of that. Okay, so the only thing keeping the water out of that hole right there, that's where the hole is. Because both pieces of metal have been cut, there's a hole there. So they just fill it up with caulking in that hole. And that's what they done there. So that cannot be done. That will leak 100% of the time. You can't just cut the metal, the step flashing, fold it over, and then cut your pan and fold it over, because there is a hole right there. And then they fill the hole with caulking. That's the wrong way to do it. Unless you want leaks, then that's the perfect way to do it. Now, that water won't get back in that wall again, and you won't see those stains on the ceiling around the chimney, because it's not leaking anymore. So now that we got our little piece in here to catch the water that comes off the pan and drain it out here, no caulking is needed. So even though there's a hole there, the water cannot go uphill into there. Now you want to keep the bugs and stuff like that out, so you can put some in there for that, but it's not going to keep water out. You got to leave that pan extended out so the water drains out here. They had it long enough before. They just cut it and ruined the whole thing. Again, you can see all the water buildup here. All that water builds up right here, and it tries to drain in that crack right there because they folded that metal over, and lots of caulking in there. Magical caulking. Why don't we just caulk the roof? We don't need no shingles, just caulk it. That's not keeping the water out. We can see there's a tiny little dip right there because that wood's soft in there because that water's been leaking in there for so long. Wow. All that magical caulk didn't work, did it? Still leaking. But boy, you'd think they'd learn after a while not to leave that hole right there. Because that's definitely a leak. Oh. That's definitely a leak. Yeah. Step flashing doesn't even go in there far enough either. So we get this little pan in here, and that will force the water that's filling up on the back of the pan to drain out here, so it never touches that little spot in there. No caulking needed. You want to put a little caulking in there to keep the bugs out, that's fine, but the water can't get in there anyway, so we'll tighten that up, seal it, no more leaks. Okay, on every side of the chimney, step flashing pours down in here, rots it all out. And that's just faulty workmanship. Come on, you can't do any better than that. Gosh, Lee, man. We'll get that fixed correctly. Oh yeah, they never hit that rafter, that's for sure. Screw ain't long enough if they tried anyway. Well, now that we've pounded it back in shape, we're gonna hit that rafter this time. Wow, imagine what you do if you actually hit the rafter and sink it up tight. Yeah, boy. Imagine what can be done if you actually find a rafter. Now we'll redirect that water back in the gutter. Won't have no more problems with that. Okay, that water's definitely going in there now. No more rotting everything out. Now we just gotta do the other side. Somebody's attempted it. Just a poor attempt is all it was. We'll fix that right away though. Boy, look how many screws they put in there. You know, I guarantee you every one of them screws is too short to even reach that rafter. We'll find out real quick. Okay. That'll hold it now. Well, no more leaks in there. No more leaks in there. Okay, both sides of that chimney are not leaking in there no more. Okay. That's finally leak free.